All right, so I have the Pocket 3 and the iPhone 11 Pro side by side in this hallway that is basically dark, except for those little lights. And you can see they're in vertical aspect ratio, but like 3K, 24 frames per second. The iPhone is doing whatever the iPhone does, auto kind of stuff. And that is just absolutely incredible what you're getting for low light out of the Pocket 3. Now I'm looking at the small screen. I imagine it's still gonna be pretty grainy. We're gonna walk over here. So we're leaving that light behind us, but I am coming to another street light. And the Pocket 3, I mean, at least from what I'm seeing on the screen of the Pocket 3, it is crushing the iPhone by just, I mean, it's just crushing it. So that's the front-facing camera of the iPhone 11 Pro. And obviously that's not a great camera, but that's kind of the point, is that if you were gonna film one or the other or use whatever, this is kind of what you're gonna be working with. So you can see I'm under a light now. Doing pretty good here. All right, we're gonna flip the iPhone around and use the other camera just to show the difference. So this is the iPhone 11 Pro, the main camera. It's the highest quality camera on the iPhone 11 Pro, just to give you a visual difference. And obviously I've got the Pocket 3. The Pocket 3 is at 3K, 24 frames per second, because I'm filming in the vertical aspect ratio for this, but the iPhone is doing whatever it does, 4K something. I can check it later, but it's just the auto functions for the iPhone. So that's kind of what you're getting as far as like video quality. If I come back here into the further away from the light, or maybe if we turn so the light's at our backs and we'll walk this way, you can kind of see just the low light difference between the two cameras. And the iPhone's, you know, it's always been decent at low light. Oh, well, I say decent, but it's certainly better cameras out there. So it's one of the improvements they've made with the iPhone, is the low light capabilities. So we'll walk back over here into the light. I'm gonna go vertical or horizontal in just a second, and then we'll be done. I'll tell you one thing that's really tough is holding the iPhone and filming with it as opposed to the gimbal. The gimbal is, or the Pocket 3 is just incredible for that purpose. And you can see we're just kind of walking around here, trying to keep the iPhone in the same place. It's hard to focus on both cameras, but that's what you're getting in low light. I mean, I'm backlit heavily. The sun isn't even up yet. It's basically just dark outside with a little bit of moonlight and stars. But as I back away from this light, you can kind of see how it's handling all of this. I mean, 4K 24 frames per second. I don't think anybody would want to be filming at 4K 60 in low light. That just seems silly to me, but maybe there's some people out there that are trying that. So I would say lower the shutter speed down as much as possible when you're filming the frame rates, so that you can get as much light in when you're doing this low light stuff. And I mean, who needs slow motion 4K 60 in low light anyway, right? All right, we'll turn around. That is absolutely insane. If this thing is doing as good as it looks like it's doing on the small screen, I'm gonna be super impressed. And the iPhone's obviously doing its thing, but I'm gonna try 4K 60 just for the fun of it. Okay, so I am now filming at 4K 60 in the lowest light. I mean, I'm right next to a street light, so you can see kind of how that harsh light's playing out. But if you were walking around in the darkness, this is kind of what you're going to be getting. So I'm going to walk from one light to the other. You can see I'm really losing light in the back, obviously. But I'm filming at 4K 60, and it's basically dark outside with the exception of these street lights and a little bit of like sun glow that's starting to pop up in the horizon, but sunrise isn't for another little while. So, in fact, sunrise is in 40 minutes. We're 40 minutes from sunrise, and this is the kind of quality we're getting. I'm obviously moving towards another street light. You can see me picking up here, but I'm also not using the wireless mic or anything like that. This is just straight gimbal, straight audio, straight everything, 4K 60, and gosh, the camera's kind of crushing it, seems like. All right, we're gonna go vertical one last time, and then we'll be done. All right, so we are at 3K, 24 frames per second, just trying to make this as natural as possible. If you were out here filming your own little vlog, trying to do some point and shoot stuff, whatever, storytelling, this is kind of what you'd be getting. It's really easy to hold in the hand when you are in this vertical mode. It's really easy to just kind of talk to the camera and have all that interaction. It seems like it's doing a pretty good job of keeping up with me. I could hit the tracking. Let's see how the tracking does in low light. Okay, so the tracking is now holding me centered. I think it'll make the camera a little more bouncy, but yeah, I mean, it's fine. It definitely makes the camera move a little more, but overall, still happy with the quality of the video. Let's go ahead and turn tracking off really quickly. It is kind of tough to work around the buttons in this with just the super small thing. I found myself going to my other hand just for comfort. So I do think, yeah, it's an interesting thing. We'll talk about that in the main video, but all right. I think that's enough for us for now. That kind of lets us know what we got going on. All right, so I wanted to do a test with the front-facing camera of the iPhone. They're both filming at 4K 60. Well, actually, the DJI Pocket 3 is filming at 3K 60, but the cameras are right next to each other, about the same distance from me, and you can kind of get an idea of how everything's going to go. I'm walking straight into sunlight. We're going to spin around right now so you can see how that kind of works, and now we are extremely backlit, just trying to get an idea for how the cameras handle that spin. Overall, the Pocket 3 and the iPhone, I think, in good lighting, are pretty close to the same quality, distance, all that kind of stuff, which I find very interesting because the iPhone's front-facing camera is significantly lower in what I would consider quality than the Pocket 3. And then we'll turn around and you can kind of see how that goes. You know, because the Pocket is on a gimbal, it obviously makes for an interesting spin, kind of loses you for a second, whereas the iPhone stays steady exactly where it is. So that's just something to be aware of when you're working with it. If I put tracking on the Pocket 3, now if I do this, we should be pretty good to stay. It definitely does a lot better once the tracking is on. And then if I wrap back around here, you're gonna see it definitely does significantly better keeping my head in the center of the frame. So just thought I'd show you those two differences and give you some better lighting experience. I'm gonna walk into the shadow really quickly here and just give you that. And now let's flip the cameras to 16:9 and see how we do. But you can see, like, in this lighting, this is shaded underneath the this awning. Both cameras, I would say, look pretty dang good. Obviously, the iPhone's in 4K 60, and the Pocket 3 is in 3K 60. All right, so both cameras are now filming in 4K 60, and I'm using the front-facing camera of the iPhone 11 Pro. Now, as I walk into bright sunlight, obviously, that's going to be much better for the iPhone, even with that small camera sensor and everything. It's going to help it out a little bit. And then as we turn, you're going to see kind of what happens. The Pocket can keep you in frame a little better in this setting because it's wider, but overall, having a frozen camera, I think, does a better job. Now, I could set the gimbal speed to move faster, track faster, all that kind of stuff. Definitely something to be aware of. But overall, this is kind of what you get with that. So if I spin around back, we're doing pretty good there. So my arms are at full arm length, basically. I mean, that's kind of what you're getting. So the field of view is what it is. Obviously, I could turn the iPhone around and film from the other side, but my problem with that is you can't see yourself, and it's really nice to be able to see that you're in frame, which is what the Pocket 3 lets you do with its screen once you're filming in selfie mode. So, all right, I think that covers those two things pretty well. Kind of see the harsh lighting there. Yeah, if I was walking like this, and then that's like from the side. All right, I hope this helps anybody that's trying to make these kinds of decisions.